Well, it's simple. Woody Johnson here. I don't know how many of you have made Christmas trees before. They're a lot of fun. They're different sizes. I'll show you a few examples and designs. You come off on me. Okay. This is probably one of the simplest to make. Just a simple cone. One of the things when I'm making them, I always leave this on the bottom. So I've got something to hold to when I'm putting finish on it and don't get it all over my fingers. Plus I can remount it in a chuck if I need to do a little additional sanding or something of that nature. I've sent out a handout to Walt. It's about 6 pages, and I broke the Christmas trees down into about 6 different designs. And this being one of those designs, this being another one. Both of these are turned out as spalted hackberry. This didn't spalt as quite as much, but this one has got some nice texture to it. This one is actually turned with a beading tool. So you can make beads, and you can actually, if you didn't like beads, you can make coves. I've seen both of them. I haven't made the cove yet tonight, but I'll demonstrate how I cut the beads and how to make the coves. So I will show that tonight. This is another design that seems to be popular from looking at pin interests and stuff. And again, this is hackberry, and it's even got a bug hole in it. One thing I've learned about turning hackberry, if it's fairly fresh cut, you might get wet. Bugs. I cut through the worms, and they go flying. So that's a hazard. It didn't break. Here's one that's turned out of cedar. Here's another one that's out of the spalted hackberry. This is hackberry with no finish, and actually has a little birdhouse on the top. So it's just a little ornament to add a little extra texture to them. Now, instead of going through a lot of the early upturning, what I'm going to do is show you the steps I go through. You can use rectangular, or square blocks, different lengths, different sizes, not a problem. This is basically a piece of hackberry limb that I've cut off. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. But one thing I recommend, if you're going to turn them out of limbs, take a pocket knife or something and turn the bark down. So when you mark your centers, you pretty much are close on center. You don't have this uneven shape to deal with. This one I've turned, put a tendon on it, so I can move on to the next step. So having a tendon on it, I go ahead and turn it round. But, there's no need to demonstrate. Most of you folks, I hope you know how to turn something round. Once you get it round, then you go ahead and shape it, get it down to the general shape you want to make. Whether you want to make a straight cone type, similar to that, or if you want to cut grooves in it. This one I've actually used a skew to cut the grooves where I'm actually going to make the limbs that I show you the one before. And this one I just use a permanent marker to mark them. What I've done is I've made some templates using paint stirrers that shows where I'm actually going to cut the grooves. This is for an 8-inch one. I've got one on here. I can go up to 13 inches and 11 inches using the same stick. Just flip it over and then mark it. So when you've got it on the lathe like this, you just bring the stick up, take a pencil, put in there, and mark it. You can mark it with a pencil, or you can mark it with a permanent marker. So you can see them, and then that tells you where you want to make your cuts. And I always bring the tailstock up. And this is kind of the design you're looking for when you start turning them to cut your grooves. I can use a skew. I don't like it as much, depending on the shape, or I can use a spindle gouge. Most of the time I use a spindle gouge. And one of the things that I'll do is when I'm turning them, they say, I keep this part on here while holding it at all times. Go ahead and turn it down. That's about the last thing I do is I'll turn this down thin so it can be cut off later on. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate one of these. This is using a thin parting tool to cut the grooves. And I've got a couple pieces of color wood, and one of them then I'll actually use a skew to show you how to cut the channels in it too, so a little bit different design. I think I'll have to use this one for, oh, there's another, oh, yes, here. This is a piece of color wood called Americana. So basically the red, white, and natural birch. One thing about color wood, you're going to be using a live center or something to bring it up. Recommend putting CA glue on there before you do and letting it dry, because this will crack. But this has already been set, and I've got it long enough that we should be all right. Now, this is one of about 6 parting tools that I've got, and I don't mark these off. I basically eyeball them. And I find it's just as easy to eyeball them as it is to sit here with a pencil and mark them. If they aren't even, it doesn't matter. It's like a tree. The limbs aren't evenly spaced. And I usually run about 1,000 RPM. Now, what you want to do is you want to cut in quite a ways and then make it a little thinner as you get up toward the top. So basically, I'm going to start here. It does help if you got a piece of white paper or something sitting down here so you can see where you're cutting. And you see, I'm not measuring. I just come up, go straight in. That one's a little bit thinner than the others. Now, usually at this time is when I'll sand. I'm not going to sand much because it does create quite a bit of dust, but it's just a matter of going back and forth like that. Then I fold the sandpaper in half. And what I do is I go in between the grooves like this and just roll it. It takes that burr off from the wood. And just finish it off. Now I got to turn this piece off down here.
Hey, Woody, what grit sandpaper are you using?
This is actually 320.
320, you start that fine, okay.
Normally, it was the first piece I grabbed. Normally I would run about 120 and then maybe just go to straight 320. And it's just a matter to take this, because you can see it's a little rough here, but it's much smoother back here. And then what I'll actually do is I'll sand this down in here. That piece is going to be cut off anyway. I'll leave the tailstock up at this point. Now this one you can make as a freestanding tree, or you can make it to where you hang it. And what I usually do is I make most of mine to hang, because I usually don't make the bigger ones. And those are freestanding. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take the parting tool just a little bit, nick off this little bit of a end here, flatten it down. I want to put just a little bit of a divot in the end. Now what I'm going to do is draw a hole. To put a screw eyelet in it. This drill bit is mounting a pin vise, and it's a number 20 numbered drill bit. And all I do is turn the lathe on. And I'm like Sherman, I order my drill bits, but I order these from True Value. They're a number 217.5 screw eyelet. And the drill bit is 0.0400 inches in diameter. This is just a little bit bigger. And then all I do is just screw it in. And that's basically how you turn that one. Now I'll show you how to turn another one here right quick. Also a piece of color wood. And then I'll show you how to turn a real big Christmas tree. Well, Cousineau is company is having a sale here coming up on this wood. I think it's in about a week. And it's supposedly a pretty good size sale from what they were saying. So if you're interested, you know, you might want to look them up. Don't want to lose that. Oh, I'll keep it out because I'll probably use it here in a minute. Now I'm going to change tools. And go to a skew. Which, like I say, I'm not that comfortable with it sometimes, but I try it. All right, now this one I could actually mark off, but it's easier just to start with it and see where you go. I'm actually going to start it at the top on this one. It's just a matter of saying, all right, I want to start right there. And then I come in for the undercut. At this point, I'd go ahead and sand it. And that's kind of what it's going to look like. And I'll go ahead and take this top off. Got to remember there's a steel point in there. So you don't want to hit it. Don't lose it yet. If you were to find these screw eyelets in one of the stores and it's a number 217 and a half, about 10 of them will run you about $3. You can go to, I know True Value sells them. Their National Screw Company is the company that sells them. And there's the next ornament. So I'll show you the last one right quick. It's going to be the big ornament. That's the ornament. This one I've already put a little bit of CA glue on it to, and so I don't have to bring it up completely all the way because it still could split the wood. Basically, I'm making the trunk of the tree. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Christmas tree.